Pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is the cognitive computational process of identifying recurring structures, trends, or regularities within information. We humans are naturally born with pattern recognition. Say when you're young and a stove is on and you put your hand on the stove and you get burned. And say you do it again and you get burned. You now know to never touch a stove while it's on. But I ask, why would some humans want to ignore their pattern recognition? It's a gift for survival given to us by God. It helps us live. It's helped us live. So why would someone want to ignore that? Say in your country, it's flooded with thousands of people who come from an inferior culture. They normalize things like pedophilia, zoophilia, and so much more. So why isn't it wrong to point out that they all come from specific cultures? Well, I know. It's all performative. All of it. Every single bit of it is performative. Or they're just stupid. There are so many cases of black people brutally murdering and raping other blacks and whites and so much more. But we ignore it because of racism. Even though white people are the most hated group, I guess it's racism for the blacks. And think about it. White people, they're the global minority. Where's all the support for them? Shouldn't white lives matter too? What about Irina? Or I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry. She's Ukrainian. It's hard. What about Irania? What about her? She's brutally stabbed by a black man with at least about 27 felonies. What about her? You guys claim to care about Ukraine. She was a Ukrainian immigrant. I thought you leftists loved the immigrants. I thought you loved them. Or do you guys love the child rapist murderers? You don't love the actual good immigrants who provide something to the country that they're in. No, because those people realistically wouldn't vote for you. But you know who would vote for you? The child rapists, because you keep providing them. You keep endorsing them. And I don't care how racist this is. The truth and statistics aren't racist. They aren't. Black people kill white people more than white people kill black people and white people combined. Black people are always raping their children. They're always doing this. Mexicans are always trafficking children. You want to hear more? The Africans enslaving people, their children, raping their children, still living in mud huts, still scamming people. Why do you want these people in the country? Why? Why? It's called pattern recognition. Why do you think Indians have a bad rep? Maybe it's because, notice how almost every phone scammer is an Indian. Is it racist for me to point that out? Is it really that wrong? It's simply pattern recognition. Why is every scam artist on the phone an Indian? We need to start asking these types of questions. We know the answer. We all know the answer. It's because their culture is inferior. We all know this. I don't even think Indians take showers, but I know for a fact that most of them don't wear deodorant. They don't even know what that is. They get confused when they hear that. And I'm supposed to be accepting of these people in my country and stealing the jobs that I want in the future? Maybe AI should take over. It's better than having some Indian foreigner who might want to throw poop at me. It's called pattern recognition. And it's simple. This has helped us survive for years. It's helped us humans. When you hug a cactus, you're gonna learn, maybe I shouldn't hug this cactus again.
Second, understand statistics. This is where a lot of people struggle. You want your racism to be accurate. You can't just make stuff up because you don't like a certain group. That's not real racism. That's just hate. Besides, if you don't like certain groups, there's usually plenty of legit reasons anyway. Crime stats, IQ distribution, pattern recognition. These are your friends. And don't just use raw numbers. Apply the proper context. There's an ancient technique for this called per capita, which many from lower IQ groups seem to struggle with. Let me give you an example. If Group A commits 44% of the murder, and Group B commits 56%, that seems pretty even. Until you realize Group B is just 13% of the total population. At that point, even other members of that group should employ prejudice for their own safety. Third, learn why they're like that. Understanding the reason, the culture, the history of why certain groups act the way they do can aid you in getting a better read on them and help avoid putting yourself at risk. It can also be useful if you're trying to help that group improve and overcome their unique challenges, which is a process I call constructive racism.
It feels mean.
I don't really think we need to play this full clip. Maybe we will. 250,000 confirmed rapes happened on women and children, and this disgusting human being's reaction to it is to fucking laugh. Which, by the way, is a story that says things such as this. At 14, Fiona was abused by a man known as Rambo. He had entered Britain illegally in the back of a lorry. Previously castrated in Pakistan as a punishment for child abuse, he had then fled to the Philippines, where he allegedly attacked multiple women and children with a large knife. The origin of his nickname Rambo was locked in a room with two girls and subjected them to extreme sexual torture. This case illustrated that in some instances, the sexual abuse of children was driven more by humiliation and control by sexual gratification. She laughs at stories like this. Jane was taken to the bathroom by the girl who had been brought there and instructed to shave. She was told that she was being sold to the men for sex. Jane did not want to participate, but complied out of fear. She was then sexually abused by one of the men and made to sleep in a small child's bed afterwards. The following morning, the girl who took Jane to the flat was paid by the men. This occurred repeatedly over a period of months. Sometimes with multiple other girls present, Jane was told that she needed to gain weight to be more desirable to men. In response, Jane began purging, which developed into a severe eating disorder. Jane was blackmailed with the threat of prison by the peer if she disclosed her exploitation to anyone. Violence and intimidation became a commonplace at semi-independent living facility. On one occasion, a young woman returned to the accommodation intoxicated and distressed, saying that she had been abducted and sexually assaulted. The staff, who were aware that sexual exploitation was taking place in the site, but chose to do nothing about it, responded by accusing her of making it up. Eventually, Jane disclosed her own sexual exploitation to accommodation staff, including the trafficking and exchange of money. She was told that was happening did not constitute trafficking, as she was over the age of 16. The police were not contacted. No action was taken. Jane was blackmailed by staff with the threat of being blamed for the exploitation of her and others if she took her complaints any further. There's even more. Sarah endured a 12-year ordeal after being kidnapped from the street at the age of 15. During this period, she was repeatedly drugged with Valium, beaten, and raped. At one point, her abuser presented her with a certificate from the mosque and declared that they were married according to Islamic rites.
Now, you're wondering, what's the moral of this story? Well, the moral of this story is, we all have a little bit of racism inside of us, and you must make sure that you use your racism for good to keep you and your family safe. Use constructive racism to help people and help the people around you. And also, do not accept Muslims. God bless you.